Well, friends, it's great to be with you once again this morning. And I'd like to pick up on the reading that we have this morning, which is from Mark chapter 12, beginning at verse 28 and ending at verse 34. It's the story, really, of a scribe who comes to Jesus and asks him what the greatest commandment is. And Christ replies that it's to love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and it's to love your neighbour as yourself. This is the key, this is the heart of the Christian life. To be a follower of Christ, this is really what it means. Now, as Christians, we disagree about all sorts of things, but at the heart of the faith, there is something very clear. Simply said, but not simply fulfilled, if you like. Now, how might we illustrate these two great commandments? Perhaps by way of contrast. Think of the great definition of sin given by the reformer Martin Luther. The self, incavata se. The self turning in on itself. Not concerned about God and the world around, but only concerned about itself, its own desires, its own worries, its own wounds, its own preoccupations. For a great illustration of what this looks like, I recommend C.S. Lewis' The Great Divorce, which is a wonderful evocation of this condition. The self, incavata se, turned in on itself and not outward to God and to other human beings around. Now, I think this is highly relevant because we're hearing a lot, aren't we, about social distancing and self-isolation, and rightly so. I'm not saying anything against these things. These things have been put in place sensibly and with the best intentions. And so we should all follow the advice that's being given to us. However, there is a spiritual component to this, because even if we are self-isolating and social distancing, we should be careful that we do not isolate our souls from God and from one another. Even if we distance ourselves physically from one another, let us be spiritually in communion with one another. Let us be emotionally engaged and concerned about one another. So yes, social distancing, self-isolation, but do not isolate your soul. Do not distance your soul, but continue to go out in love to God and to the world. And regardless of your situation, there is nothing to stop you from praying. Perhaps this is an opportunity to get into a more regular practice of prayer. Like a monastery maybe, praying in the morning, midday, and in the evening, perhaps for different groups of people. It's an opportunity, isn't it? And of course, we can do acts of service if we're more mobile, or if we're not, we can ring people up and check that people are okay, do FaceTime and things like that. But continue to go outwards to the world. Don't think that this is an opportunity just for me to give up. No. This is an opportunity for us to go out. So, social distancing, yes. Self-isolation, maybe. But do not isolate the soul from God and from the people around. There is nothing that can force us to do that as followers of Christ. Because the soul can always go out. The soul can always be concerned. The soul can always love, even if the physical self is constrained for a time. Friends, it's great to be able to share these homilies with you, and I look forward to sharing another one tomorrow. May God's peace be with us. May he strengthen us for the task that lies ahead. And may God's blessing be with us all. Through Jesus Christ. Amen.